Welcome tonight. We step into a world both familiar and magical. A world where the old gods still walk among us, where Olympus still shines, and myths breathe life in every corner of the earth. Let the soft sound of rain settle around you. Feel your body relax, your mind grow quiet. This is a story for your dreams, told slowly and softly, a story of gods, of power, and of the ties that bind us all. So, close your eyes when you're ready, and let's begin. Welcome to a world where Olympus never fell. Imagine, high above the earth, hidden beyond clouds and storms. The palace of the gods still stands tall, shining with marble white and golden light. The halls echo not with silence, but with laughter and whispered secrets. Zeus, the king of the gods, sits on his mighty throne, carved from thunderclouds. He commands the skies with calm authority. Lightning no longer strikes wildly, but dances carefully to his will. Every storm is balanced, measured, a symphony of power and grace. People on earth don't fear thunder anymore. Instead, they look up and feel the warm presence of Zeus watching over them, his eyes like distant stars. Beside the shorelines, Poseidon rules the vast oceans. He guides the tides like a master conductor leads an orchestra. Calm waters reflect the sky's vastness, but when Poseidon's mood shifts, the seas roar with power, reminding sailors of his might. Fishermen leave offerings on coral altars, hoping to earn his favor. The sea, once wild and cruel, now watches over those who respect it like a protective father, deep in the forests. Artemis roams barefoot and silent, a guardian of wild things. Her arrows never miss, and the animals recognize her presence. Deer step softly at her approach. Wolves howl, greetings rather than warnings. Ancient groves flourish under her care, places where humans may walk only with permission, not ownership. Above, Apollo pulls his chariot across the sky, painting dawn and dusk in colors that take your breath away. Every sunrise is a masterpiece, every sunset a lullaby children dream of. Playing his lyre, and poets whisper his name when words come to them like magic. Hospitals quiet their halls, hoping for his healing touch. This is the world where the gods never left, where belief is no longer a hope but a living rhythm in every breath. High above the earth, the palace of Olympus is alive. Its marble steps gleam under the soft glow of eternal twilight. The walls hum with ancient magic, whispers of old tales, laughter of gods and goddesses, and the faint echo of lyres and flutes playing timeless melodies. The air is filled with a scent of blooming laurels and sweet ambrosia, the food of the gods, which sustains them forever. Zeus, mighty king of Olympus, sits on his throne, not just a ruler, but a keeper of balance. His eyes shimmer like storm-lit skies, calm yet full of quiet power. Lightning arcs in gentle spirals around his fingertips, illuminating the great hall with a warm, golden glow. Unlike the chaos many imagine, Zeus's storms are measured, a dance of nature's raw energy tamed by divine wisdom. On earth below, people pause when thunder rolls, their hearts calm, not from fear, but from a deep, ancient trust. They know Zeus watches. They feel his presence in the rustling of leaves, the distant rumble of a gathering storm, the crackle of a lightning bolt cutting through the night sky. Beside the rolling waves, Poseidon walks the sandy shores, his trident steady and sure. His beard flows like sea foam, and his eyes hold the endless depth of the ocean. The tides rise and fall with his command, the waves singing his name in crashing songs. Sailors offer gifts, polished shells, woven seaweed wreaths, tiny statues carved from driftwood, hoping to win his favor. And the sea, once wild and unforgiving, watches over them like a protective father, gentle yet strong, dot in the deepest forests. Artemis moves like a shadow, barefoot and silent. She is the eternal huntress and protector of wild creatures. Her silver bow gleams with the light of 1,000 stars, and her arrows fly swift and true. Animals sense her presence. Deer lower their heads in respect. Wolves pause their howls to acknowledge their guardian. The ancient groves under her watch flourish, untouched by human greed. Those who walk beneath her trees do so with reverence, knowing this is sacred ground above. Apollo drives his chariot across the sky. His golden hair flows behind him like strands of sunlight. The first light of dawn spills from his wheels, painting the world with soft hues of pink and gold. Every sunrise is a masterpiece, every sunset a gentle farewell sung by the evening breeze. Musicians dream of his lyre's songs, poets find their words in the quiet moments, and healers whisper his name when seeking the power to mend wounds. This is a world where the gods still rule, where Olympus has not fallen and the divine touches every corner of mortal life. Belief here is not a distant memory or forgotten tale. It is the very air people breathe, the steady heartbeat beneath their feet. The temples are alive, glowing with soft light in the twilight. Smoke curls upward from incense burners, carrying prayers on delicate spirals of fragrant smoke. Stone altars are covered with offerings, fresh bread, ripe grapes, olive oil dripping like liquid gold, and honey sweet as a summer breeze. Pilgrims come not just to remember the past, but to seek guidance, protection, and blessings for the future. Sometimes the gods walk among the people, not often, but when they do, it is like a gentle breeze stirring the leaves, or a sudden feeling of warmth on a cold day. Hera, queen of the gods and wife of Zeus, moves through the world with quiet grace. She is unseen by most, but her presence is felt in moments of justice, in families protected from harm, in love that endures despite trials. When a couple stays true, when a parent keeps a promise, you can almost feel Hera's approving smile. Ares, god of war, watches the edges of every conflict, not a bringer of chaos, but a judge of courage and honor. War is a grave responsibility. To him, not a game. When battles are fought with bravery and respect, Ares stands silently beside those warriors. But when blood is spilled for greed or cruelty, he turns away in silent sorrow. Deep beneath the earth, Hephaestus toils in his glowing forges. Molten metal flows like rivers of fire as he crafts weapons, tools, and machines powered by divine flame. Engineers and inventors dream of his designs before they even imagine them. The ringing of his hammer echoes in the deepest caverns, a steady beat of creation and transformation. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war strategy, walks unseen through the quiet halls of libraries and schools. When a student solves a problem no one else could, when a child suddenly understands a lesson, when wisdom rises above impulse, that is Athena's silent gift. She inspires greatness not through force, but through clarity of thought and courage. Of mind, Demeter, goddess of the harvest, breathes life into the soil. Fields grow lush and golden under her care. Grain sways in the breeze. Grapes hang heavy on twisting vines. Farmers who honor her with humble offerings reap bountiful harvests. Those who forget find their crops wither and their land grow barren. The cycle of seasons pulses with her rhythm, a steady heartbeat of growth and rest. Hestia, the quiet goddess of the hearth, warms every home. Wherever there is a fire burning, a meal shared, a place of peace and gathering, Hestia is there. She brings comfort and connection, a steady light in the ever-turning world. Yet, as perfect as this divine realm seems, it is not without its shadows. The gods are powerful, but also temperamental. Their moods ripple across the world like waves. A broken promise can call down storms. A whispered insult in a temple can bring misfortune. Faith is not just hope, it is a responsibility. The gods demand respect, and they give blessings in return. Children learn these truths from an early age. They do not see mythology as stories, but as history and law. They leave coins at crossroads for Hermes, the messenger god, to guide their steps. They avoid staring too long into the eyes of strangers, for Athena might be testing their character. In forests, people speak softly, knowing Artemis hears every word, pouring the first sip of wine onto the earth, leaving an empty seat at the table for visiting spirits. These rituals keep the world in balance. When a sudden flood or mysterious disappearance strikes, people say the gods are watching. This belief weaves through daily life, giving it a steady rhythm. It slows the rush of time, brings presence to each moment, and fills hearts with gratitude. In this world where Olympus still stands tall, the gods are not distant figures locked away in a forgotten past. They walk among us, sometimes seen, often felt in the smallest moments of life. They are woven into the very fabric of the earth, the sky, and the hearts of all living things. Temples are not empty ruins, but living places of worship and connection. Smoke curls lazily from incense burners, twisting up toward the heavens in slow spirals. Stone altars are adorned with offerings, freshly baked bread still warm, clusters of ripe grapes dripping with juice, bowls of golden olive oil shimmering in the candlelight, and honey that glistens like liquid amber. These gifts are not mere tradition, they are conversations between mortals and immortals, threads in a dialogue that has never ended. Pilgrims journey to these sacred sites, not as tourists or historians, but as seekers of hope and guidance. They come with quiet prayers, whispered wishes, and hearts open to miracles. Sometimes, in the soft glow of twilight, a god or goddess might step from the shadows just enough to be noticed, but never fully revealed. Hera, Queen of Olympus, rules, beside Zeus, with a regal grace that commands respect. She is a guardian of marriage, family, and fidelity, watching silently over homes and hearts. Her presence is subtle yet profound. When justice is served, when a family remains united through hardship, when love survives betrayal, it is said that Hera's gentle smile shines like a hidden star. Her influence calms storms within relationships, turning anger to understanding, pain to forgiveness. Nearby, Ares lingers on the edges of conflict, not a mindless harbinger of war, but a god who weighs the cost of battle. War, to Ares, is a somber matter, something to be respected, not glorified. He honors courage and honor, but turns away from cruelty and needless bloodshed. When warriors fight bravely for just causes, Ares stands quietly beside them, lending strength and resolve. But when violence is fueled by greed or hate, he withdraws his favor, leaving only the bitter ashes of regret beneath the earth. Hephaestus labors in his fiery forge, the pulse of creation beating in the rhythm of his hammer. His workshop glows with molten metal and sparks, alive with the magic of invention. From his skilled hands come mighty weapons, delicate tools, and wondrous machines powered by divine flame. His craftsmanship defies time itself. Inventors and engineers dream of Hephaestus's creations, inspired by his unyielding dedication and brilliance. The steady ringing of his hammer echoes in caverns deep beneath Olympus, a heartbeat of progress and possibility. Athena, goddess of wisdom, walks silently through the halls of learning. Invisible to most, her presence is felt in moments of clarity and insight. When a student solves a complex puzzle, when a scientist discovers a new truth, when a child understands a lesson that changes their world, Athena's spirit is there, guiding and inspiring. She is not just a goddess of war, but of strategy, knowledge, and justice. Her wisdom is a beacon in the darkness, a steady light that cuts through confusion and fear. Demeter, the nurturing goddess of the harvest, breathes life into the fields. Under her care, the earth yields golden grain, heavy clusters of grapes, and lush orchards bursting with fruit. Farmers honor her with simple offerings, fresh bread, a handful of seeds, a libation poured onto the soil. Those who remember her gifts reap bountiful harvests. Those who forget face lean years and barren fields. The rhythm of planting and harvest flows from her steady hand, a sacred dance of life and renewal. And then there is Hestia, the quiet guardian of the hearth. Wherever there is a fire burning, be it a family's hearth, a village gathering place, or a solitary campfire, Hestia is there. She offers warmth, comfort, and peace. Her presence holds the world together in moments of rest and renewal, a silent promise of safety and home. In a world filled with gods of power and war, Hestia's gentle light is a reminder of the strength found in kindness and quiet endurance. The gods do not rule from afar. They live among mortals, shaping the world in ways both grand and small. Their influence can be felt in the rustling of leaves, the turning of seasons, the pulse of life itself. Their moods ripple through the skies and seas, the earth and hearts, a constant dance of light and shadow. Yet, with all their power, the gods demand respect. They are not to be taken lightly. A careless word in a temple, a broken promise, an act of disrespect can stir their wrath. Storms may rage, crops may fail, or misfortune may shadow a careless soul. Faith is more than hope. It is a living bond, a responsibility carried by every worshipper. From childhood, people learn these truths. In schools, mythology is not taught as mere stories, but as history and lore. Children leave coins at crossroads for Hermes, the swift messenger, to guide their steps. They avoid gazing too long into the eyes of strangers, for Athena may be testing their courage and wisdom. Forests are entered with quiet voices, offerings left for Artemis, who hears every whisper at every meal. The first sip of wine is poured onto the earth as an offering. A chair is left empty, just in case a visiting spirit wishes to join. These small acts maintain the balance between mortal and divine, keeping the world in harmony. When a sudden flood sweeps a village, when a loved one vanishes in the mountains, people say the gods are watching. It is not a curse, but a reminder of connection between heaven and earth, mortal and immortal. This ancient bond slows the rush of life. It brings presence to each breath, gratitude to each moment, and respect for the unseen forces that shape the world. But even in this world, where the gods walk among us, not everything is calm and peaceful. Because gods, well, they are gods, and with great power comes great temper. They can be as unpredictable as the weather itself. The world breathes with the pulse of harmony, but also the tension of fear. A broken promise can summon storms that lash the land. A whispered insult in a temple might rot the tongue of the offender, a curse that spreads silently and painfully. Faith is not just a simple act of devotion. Here it is a pact, a responsibility that every soul carries. To honor the gods is to honor the world itself. To forget them invites chaos. The gods' expectations are high, but their blessings are immense. When respect is given, the skies clear, crops grow tall, and rivers flow steady. When neglect or hubris creeps in, the winds howl with fury, the earth trembles, and dark clouds gather without warning. In schools, Children are taught these lessons early. Greek myths aren't stories of distant times, but living truths. They learn why Hermes is honored with coins left at crossroads to help guide travelers safely through life's choices. They learn not to stare too long into the eyes of a stranger with owl-like calm, because that might be Athena testing their wit and bravery. They learn the sacred language of the forest, the rustle of leaves that means Artemis is near. They understand why a fresh sip of wine must be poured onto the ground before drinking, an offering to Demeter and Dionysus, the keepers of grain and grape. They know why an empty chair at the family table is left in case a visiting spirit wishes to join a gesture that keeps the threads between worlds intact. The forests themselves are alive, not just with animals, but with the watchful gaze of Artemis. Deer pause mid-step, as if listening. Wolves let out howls that echo like ancient songs, not cries of fear, but greetings to the goddess who roams beneath the moonlight. Travelers whisper prayers before stepping into groves, knowing they tread on sacred ground. The seas, once wild and unpredictable, carry the steady hand of Poseidon. Ships no longer fear sudden tempests without reason, for Poseidon rewards those who respect the ocean's power. Fishermen leave offerings of salt and bread on coral altars beneath the waves, praying for bountiful catches and safe returns. Sailors speak in hushed tones of a shadow glimpsed beneath the surfacer, trident-wielding figure watching over the waves. But the gods are not merely gentle guardians. They are forces of nature themselves. Their emotions ripple through the world, shaping fortunes and fates with the slightest gesture. Zeus's thunder can be a warning or a punishment. Hera's gaze can bless a marriage or wither it in doubt. Ares' presence can inspire courage, or fuel reckless fury in every home. The flame of Hestia's hearth burns bright, but even here there is vigilance. Carelessness with fire, disrespect in the kitchen, or harsh words spoken in anger can dull her warmth, leaving cold shadows that linger long after the flames die down. Hephaestus's forge is a place of creation and destruction. Sparks fly, illuminating the dark caverns beneath Olympus as he crafts tools of divine power. His fiery hammer shapes the weapons of gods and heroes alike. But the same fire that forges can also consume, and his mood can shift like molten metal unsteady one moment, raging and explosive the next. Athena's wisdom guides many, but even the brightest minds can falter. Those who act without thought, without honor, find themselves lost in the labyrinth of their own making. Athena's lessons are harsh but fair, teaching that true strength lies not in power, but in justice and insight. Demeter's gifts of grain and harvests are vital, but they depend on balance. Fields left untended, seasons ignored, or disrespect toward the earth bring lean years and famine. Demeter's sorrow is deep and slow, like winter's chill, settling over the land until respect is renewed. And Artemis, fierce protector of the wild, does not forgive easily. Hunters who kill without need, those who disrespect the balance of nature. find themselves lost in endless forests, their cries swallowed by shadows. Artemis's arrows fly swift and silent, justice delivered without hesitation. Living with the gods means living with awe and caution. It means embracing the beauty of their blessings and the power of their judgments. It means walking a path where every word and action carries weight beyond the mortal realm. Yet, in this delicate dance between harmony and fear, there is a rhythm, a sacred flow that connects all life. It is a reminder that we are part of something greater, a world where the divine breathes in the wind, the water, the fire, and the earth beneath our feet. And in that connection lies both comfort and challenge. For the gods do not demand blind obedience. They seek respect, gratitude, and a recognition that life, with all its joys and sorrows, is a gift to be honored. So, in this world where gods still walk among us, every moment is touched by the eternal. Every breath carries the whisper of the divine, and every heartbeat beats in time with the rhythm of Olympus. Every age tells its own story. Even in a world ruled by gods, the myths are never finished. They grow and change, like the branches of a mighty olive tree reaching toward the sky. The ancient tales from long ago still echo in the marble halls of Olympus. But down below, in the cities, the forests, and the seas, new stories begin to stir. Stories of ordinary people touched by the divine, of miracles whispered on the wind, and of courage born in the quiet moments of everyday life. There's a story told in the town square of a young woman with fire in her heart and words sharper than any sword. She stood before the leaders, speaking truths that made even the strongest tremble. As her voice rose, a sudden breeze swept through the crowd, carrying her words farther than sound should have traveled. Whispers say Hermes himself lent his speed to her voice, ensuring justice was heard. Then there's the tale of a healer who closed her eyes before every surgery, feeling the gentle touch of Apollo guiding her hands. Surgeons say she never lost a patient, and her calm hands soothed pain as if touched by divine grace. A lost boy once wandered deep into the ancient woods, alone and afraid. But as darkness fell, a silent deer appeared and led him safely home. People say Artemis herself walked beside the boy, protecting him through the shadows. These are not just stories told to children at bedtime. They are living myths breathed into existence by those who still believe in the gods' power and presence. Cities honor these stories in their own ways. Parks are named for Demeter, their trees heavy with fruit. Libraries are built in the shape of owls, a tribute to Athena. Wisdom, skyscrapers are painted with murals of storm clouds and lightning bolts, a nod to Zeus's ever-watchful gaze. And sometimes, on the edge of the sea, fishermen swear they see a figure standing in the reflection of the waves, a tall man with a trident, smiling softly as he watches over the waters. These new myths are different, but no less powerful. They grow from the everyday lives of people who live with the gods still near, who feel the pulse of Olympus in the rustling leaves and roaring seas. The gods themselves are part of these stories. They walk unseen among crowds, listening to prayers, watching for moments of kindness and courage. Hera's quiet presence can be felt in a family's laughter, in the strength of a mother's love that shields her children from harm. Ares' shadow lingers where brave hearts face danger, not for glory, but because it is the right thing to do. Athena's wisdom shines brightest in moments when patience and cleverness solve problems that brute force cannot. Hephaestus's fire warms the hands of artisans, creating beauty from raw materials. Their craft inspired by his eternal flame. The old gods are not distant relics, but active participants in the world's unfolding story. And as long as people continue to tell these new myths, their power will never fade. In a world where the gods still watch and whisper, heroes are never truly gone. They are not just legends locked away in dusty scrolls or frozen statues. They live and breathe among us, sometimes hidden, sometimes shining bright like stars breaking through the night sky. These heroes are different now. They don't always wear shining armor or wield legendary weapons. Sometimes their courage is quiet, their strength unseen but no less real. Some are born knowing who they are. From the moment they take their first breath, the blood of the gods courses through their veins like wildfire. They grow fast, learn quickly, and their very presence turns heads. Others discover their heritage by accident. A child survives a fall that should have broken every bone. A young woman lifts a car to save a stranger trapped beneath it, only to wonder where such strength could have come from. A boy speaks words so moving, entire crowds fall silent, feeling the power behind each phrase. These children of gods walk among ordinary people. They carry the weight of destiny lightly, sometimes unaware of the legacy they inherit. There are no grand academies where they learn their powers, no ancient scrolls telling them their fate. Their journey is their own, filled with trials, triumphs, and the quiet moments when they question who they really are. Some are mentored by figures who appear at just the right moment, a wise stranger, a shadowy guide, a voice in a dream. Others face challenges alone, tested by fate, by nature, by the very gods whose blood they carry, in the forests where Artemis's arrows never miss. Hunters find their aim sharper, their senses keener. It's said that those favored by the goddess can hear the heartbeat of the wild itself by the roaring seas under Poseidon's watchful eye. Fishermen find nets bursting with fish, or survive storms that would swallow a normal boat whole. The ocean recognizes them as kin. In the cities, Athena's children walk among scholars, artists, and leaders. They inspire invention, creativity, and justice. They remind the world that wisdom is a power greater than any sword. The old tales speak of heroes who conquered impossible odds. Heracles with his legendary strength and labors, Perseus facing the deadly Medusa, and Theseus defeating the Minotaur in the twisting labyrinth. Today's heroes may not face monsters in dark caves, but their battles are no less fierce. They fight for kindness in a harsh world, for truth against lies, for peace where there is chaos. Their stories are quieter, but no less important. One young woman wakes from dreams filled with visions of a lion's skin cloak and unmatched strength. She finds herself lifting what others cannot, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. She wonders about the fire burning inside her. Is she a daughter of Heracles reborn? A boy with a silver tongue speaks to crowds who listen as if hearing the voice of Orpheus himself. His words heal wounds that weapons cannot touch, bridging divides and kindling hope. Some heroes rise slowly, their path uncertain. Others are called suddenly by events beyond their control. A natural disaster, a moment of injustice, a choice between safety and sacrifice. The gods watch quietly, guiding, sometimes stepping in, but often letting their children learn the hard lessons of mortal life. Because being a hero is not about glory or fame. It's about heart. It's about standing tall when the world pushes down. It's about kindness when cruelty is easier. And as long as the gods still rule, heroes will continue to rise, new champions for new times, even though the gods walk. Among us, much of the world moves quietly, barely noticing the divine presence woven into everyday life. But some mortals remember. They carry stories, rituals, and a sense of wonder passed down through generations, like a soft thread linking past to present. In villages nestled between olive groves and ancient ruins, elders tell tales of the gods, as if they were old friends. Children listen wide-eyed, imagining Zeus's lightning crackling across the sky, or Artemis's silver bow flashing in the moonlight. These stories are more than myths here. They are guides, warnings, lessons wrapped. In magic, temples still stand tall, their white marble gleaming under the sun. Not museums, but places of worship and living connection. Incense burns, prayers rise, and offerings of bread, wine, and fresh fruit are laid carefully on altars at crossroads. Coins are left for Hermes, the trickster and guide, hoping for safe travels and clever solutions. In the hearths of homes, a tiny flame is kept for Hestia, guardian of the family's peace and warmth. Farmers call on Demeter as they sow seeds, trusting in the goddess's blessing to bring forth rich harvests. Fishermen cast nets with a whispered thanks to Poseidon, who watches over the seas with both fury and favor. But faith is not just about rituals, it's about respect. Respect for the gods, for nature, and for one another. In marketplaces, bustling, with merchants and chatter, a sudden hush might fall if someone unknowingly offends the gods. A careless word or a broken promise can bring bad luck, or worse, the wrath of a god's ire. People live with the understanding that the world is alive, watching, responding, that the mountains hold ancient spirits, that rivers sing songs older than memory. Some mortals say they have felt a gentle touch in times of need, a hand guiding their steps, or a whisper of encouragement when hope seemed lost. Others tell of dreams where gods appeared, offering advice, warnings, or blessings. These dreams carry weight and often change the course of a life in cities. Festivals light up the streets, celebrations for Athena's wisdom, Apollo's music, and Dionysus's joy. These gatherings are vibrant, a blend of laughter, dance, and reverence. The gods do not demand perfection, they seek connection. A heartfelt prayer, a simple act of kindness, a moment of gratitude, and mortals respond. Because in a world ruled by gods, every gesture counts. This remembrance shapes how people live. It slows the rush, grounds the heart. It reminds us that we are part of something greater, a vast living story written across time, living alongside. Gods isn't always easy. Their presence shapes the world in ways both beautiful and challenging. People know that blessings can turn to curses, and peace can shift to storm with the flick of a divine hand. Some mortals grow proud, believing themselves favored above others. They build grand temples, make lavish offerings, or claim special status, but the gods see through pride and arrogance. They remind such people that respect and humility are the true paths to favor. There are those who doubt the gods, skeptics who say these stories are just old tales, no more real than shadows. They question the rituals, dismiss the whispers of magic, and trust only in what can be seen and measured. Yet, even these doubters cannot deny the strange moments. A sudden wind that chills the bones, a wild animal's calm gaze that feels like understanding, a chance meeting that changes a life. The gods are subtle. They work in mysteries, not always obvious but deeply felt. Conflict arises, too, between mortals and gods, or among gods themselves. Hera's wrath can be fierce when jealousy burns. Ares' anger can spark wars. Poseidon's mood swings churn the seas. The balance is delicate. Sometimes mortals find themselves caught in the crossfire. Villages lost to floods, crops failing without reason, storms tearing through homes. But from these trials come stories of courage and resilience. People come together to rebuild, to heal, to honor what remains. The gods reward such strength and unity. Change sweeps across the land as well. New ideas challenge old ways. Technology grows, cities rise, and the world becomes more complex. The gods adapt, they take new forms, find new ways to be known. They inspire artists who create fresh visions. They whisper to poets who craft new songs, and mortals learn to listen differently, not just with ears, but with hearts open to wonder. The story of gods and people is ongoing, a dance of light and shadow, power and grace. In this living world, nothing is fixed. Everything moves and breathes. The divine and the mortal are forever entwined. What does the future hold for a world where gods still walk among us? It's a question whispered in quiet corners and shouted in hopeful songs. The old myths tell of endings, great battles, fallen kingdoms, the fading of divine power. But in this living story, the future is unwritten. The gods, ancient and eternal, watch with interest. They see humanity's strengths and flaws, its dreams and fears. They see potential, a spark waiting to grow. Mortals, too, stand at a crossroads. The choices made today ripple through time like waves on a vast ocean. Some believe the gods will guide us to new heights, a world where harmony between nature, spirit, and progress blossoms, where wisdom and courage walk hand in hand. Others fear that the old tensions will flare again, pride and jealousy, power and rebellion, chaos and order locked in endless struggle. But perhaps the greatest story lies in the partnership, imperfect, fragile, and beautiful, between gods and mortals. Dumb schools. Children learn the old tales alongside new discoveries. They grow up knowing both science and spirit, logic and magic. Artists paint visions of Olympus shining on distant hills, while engineers design cities that honor nature and ancient wisdom. Communities gather not just to survive, but to celebrate. Festivals where the divine and human dance together in light and shadow, and in quiet moments, when the rain falls softly and the stars blink awake, you might feel a presence, gentle, watchful, eternal. The gods are still here. They are part of the earth beneath your feet, the sky above your head, the stories whispered through time. And as long as they remain, so will the wonder. So close your eyes now, breathe in the night, and dream of a world where Olympus still rules, not with iron fists, but with the gentle strength of stories told, lives touched, and hearts united. Good night, and so, our journey comes to an end, at least for tonight. But the stories of gods and mortals continue, whispered on the wind and carried in dreams. May the calm of Olympus rest softly on your mind. May your night be filled with gentle rain, quiet stars, and peaceful sleep. Until next time, rest well, and know that the gods watch kindly over you. Good night.